At the beginning of the movie, Braxton, a negotiator on behalf of the company Spencer Goldstein, finalizes a deal with a ruthless billionaire Manny Salazar to recover a loan of $1 billion. After the deal, Salazar's head of security, Olson, drives Braxton and his bodyguard to the airport, when Braxton stops to report to Spencer Goldstein executive, Bobby Sheen, about the conclusion of the deal. Olson and Braxton's bodyguard step outside the car. However there, Olson, under orders from Salazar, eliminates the bodyguard, locking Braxton in the car while he finishes off the dying man, then sadistically allowing Braxton to run for his life before also gunning him down, all while Bobby listens on the phone. Salazar refuses to repay the $1 billion debt, promising to put down anyone else that tries to recover it. A few days later, Braxton's apprentice, a ruthless lawyer named Rachel Wilde, bursts into Bobby's office, offering to recover the cash for her. The two are clearly acquainted, as Bobby knows of Rachel's ridiculous fees, but Rachel reminds her that her track record speaks for itself. If she should recover the full debt, then her fee would be 20%, but Bobby offers 5%. Rachel refuses to offer her skills for less than 10%, with $10 million paid up front, and Bobby finally agrees. With this, Bobby gathers her team, her plan to hit Salazar both legally, with her team of lawyers, and illegally, which is where Sid and Bronco come in, two highly skilled mercenaries. Bronco heads a team that specializes in sabotage and extraction, while Sid's team deals with bribery and covert surveillance. The plan gets underway. While Sid heads to Dubai, Rachel and Bronco go to meet Salazar's lawyer Horowitz, expressing interest in Salazar's portfolio. While there, Bronco starts messing with a trophy until Horowitz asks him to put it down. He senses they're up to something, refuses to listen any further, and calls in his security Gary. Rachel promises that the alternative will be very expensive, but Horowitz doesn't care. Gary enters and asks them to leave, but Bronco tells him to choose between getting laid out versus allowing them a few more seconds to conclude their business. Not wishing to test Bronco, Gary decides to give them time. Rachel gives Horowitz one last chance to cooperate in recovering the debt owed, but Horowitz isn't fazed. Expecting this, Rachel leaves her number behind, as they may be running into some trouble very soon, and he may need to talk. Bronco and Baker fly to Salazar's island to begin sabotaging Salazar's interests. Sydney also begins operations in Dubai, tipping off authorities to one of Salazar's massive construction projects after discovering building violations, causing authorities to close the construction down and Salazar to lose $4 million per week until it's sorted out. While Horowitz is stressed trying to figure this out, Sydney and another associate, Gucci, are on a bribery campaign. They target a shipping port supervisor, rear-ending his car, then dropping 100 grand for his troubles, which he gladly accepts. With this, almost 20,000 tons of imported steel belonging to Salazar is impounded, resulting in another massive loss of $5 million per week. Rachel isn't done. She has Bronco and Baker infiltrate Salazar's oil rig, sabotaging a vital piece of equipment by swapping out a small fuse, which then results in the entire rig being suspended for safety reasons and Salazar losing even more money. He is pissed, as he should be, demanding to know who is doing this and what Horowitz is doing about it. Horowitz tells him about Rachel and how capable and ruthless she is. Salazar thinks the simple thing to do is kill her, but Horowitz reveals Rachel has a backup plan, a team of prepaid lawyers ready to attack Salazar in case of her death. Horowitz thinks Salazar should make Rachel an offer of $300 million. Most of Salazar's assets are being controlled by his accountant Wolfgang, which he doubts she will be able to find, so that amount should put things to rest, but Horowitz is badly mistaken. During Rachel's visit to his office, Bronco had planted a listening device on his trophy, so Rachel knows all about Wolfgang. He hides Salazar's fortune, making it almost impossible to be tied back to the billionaire. But if they can make the connections, then Rachel can prove he owns the companies. They will need to access Wolfgang's computer, so Sid and Gucci infiltrate the compound during Wolfgang's hosting of a backgammon tournament, and using loaded dice, Sydney begins winning consecutive games. What catches Wolfgang's attention, though, is when Sydney keeps refusing the prize money. Suspecting Sid is a grifter, he comes over to challenge him, only for Sid to continue winning and still refusing payment. Sid then loses the final match. Then, as a token, he gifts Wolfgang an antique statue, which secretly houses a wireless hacking device, which begins to untangle Salazar's financial web. With this, Rachel begins to seize and impound more of Salazar's assets. Horowitz offers her the 300 million, but what Rachel really wants is a meeting with Salazar. Predicting that Salazar will have no choice but to agree to a meeting on his island, she gives Sid and Bronco the task of running recon on the island and putting a plan in place. A few days before the meeting, the entire team is assembled, including Baker in charge of ammunition, Moreno in charge of ground transport, Dunn overseeing aviation, while Gucci will manage the tech. With the help of their on-the-ground guy Javier, they gather multiple vehicles, motorbikes, boats, and a wide array of weapons. The team set up base on a remote part of the island, in close proximity to 3 pre-selected extraction points, the plan being to extract Rachel in case the meeting goes sideways. They may encounter problems, as Salazar owns the police force and has a small militia of about 50 soldiers, so they plan to perfect all their extraction routes. Gucci, Dunn and Baker head to recon the north evac route while Sidney, Bronco and Moreno recon the east evac route from Salazar's penthouse. The east evac route isn't promising as there is daily bumper-to-bumper traffic, so they decide on bikes instead. They spot some cops ahead, so Moreno decides to test how responsive they are. The cops start chasing him in their car, and soon a bike cop joins the chase, but when Moreno rides into a storm drain, the cops decide to call off the chase. At the northern extraction point, the team plan to use gyrocopters as their means of transportation. If all those options don't work, their final extraction point is to the west. However, in addition to having to hike, there is a massive 300-foot drop ravine in their path. For this, the team have zip lines set up to bring them directly to hidden ATVs. The team then begin perfecting their routes, their weapons as well as countermeasures or traps in case they end up getting chased.
Do it again.
259.
We drive over.
The success of their plan depends on them staying one step ahead of Salazar, so they need to get access to his penthouse suite. So the team infiltrate the hotel, Sid faking a heart attack, so he can steal the hotel manager's access card and bug Salazar's suite. As for the island's police force, engine killers are planted on their cars, and Sid gets himself arrested acting drunk in the town, just so he can run recon on the station in case one of them gets arrested. Before Rachel leaves for the island, she has one more surprise for Salazar, grounding his private jet under international law and impounding his yacht. And just as she predicted, Salazar demands to meet Rachel face to face. When Sid is released, he has already identified all the weak points of the station and even hacked their gate signal. As they gather the intel at their base, they realize Olsen is observing them from a distance. The next morning, Rachel lands on the island, and Sid gives her a tracking device, promising to find her anywhere she is. They realize they're being followed, but Sid is already expecting this. Salazar himself also soon arrives. The meeting takes place at his penthouse. Salazar ignores Rachel altogether, leaving Horowitz to bargain for 350 million, but Rachel refuses yet again. Salazar himself then offers 400 million, his final offer. He accuses her of playing dirty, not sticking to the rules of the game, and attacking him personally, where their deal was strictly business. He tries to intimidate her subtly, but Rachel isn't fazed by his words, reminding him she's just there to help him repay what is owed. Nevertheless, Salazar tells her to take the offer and F off. Rachel leaves, knowing she needs more leverage on Salazar. She wants a strong drink, so they stop at a cafe, Bronco following her inside while Sid organizes a perimeter and eyes in the sky. Soon Sidney spots 2 suspicious men entering the cafe. Then 4 more take up positions inside and outside the cafe. Sid moves the car to the back of the cafe, but things continue getting worse when even more men turn up. The team is calm and confident, Sid and Baker moving into position to support Bronco.
Did you take the back bar?
In an instant, the trio eliminate the hostiles inside the restaurant.
Baker. Lobby clear. Kitchen clear.
Outside done, and Moreno swiftly gun down the men before they can even make a move. Bronco takes out 2 more on a scooter while moving Rachel into the car before the entire team escaped the scene. Salazar gets news that the 14 men he sent to take out Rachel were all eliminated, but hearing this, Horowitz fears Rachel will get an emergency injunction to unravel their entire financial network. They plan to contact Wolfgang, but having his office bugged, Rachel learns that he's begun moving massive assets in a panic. With this, she has her team begin connecting his assets to his businesses and shut them down. her plan to cut off his income and force him to return to the table. Rachel refuses extraction, determined to see her plan through. With this, one by one Salazar's businesses begin shutting down. Soon Wolfgang locates the device in his office, but Rachel already has everything she needs, leaving Salazar without any choice but to admit how clever she is and set up another meeting. Rachel returns to Salazar's penthouse with Bronco and Sid, demanding that Salazar pay his full tab unless he wants to lose even more money. Salazar offers $800 million, subtly threatening Rachel to quit while she's ahead, but Rachel is done playing his little games. She has seen behind the curtain and is willing to start digging up old bodies he buried to make him start worrying about more than just his money. With this, Salazar verbally agrees to pay the $1 billion. He then blames Horowitz for allowing this to happen, then instructs Olsen to take him to the airport, but he knows what this means. Rachel then tells Bobby about the deal to return the money, reminding her to return all Salazar's assets seized when she gets confirmation. Bobby is skeptical at first, but then her red phone rings, and Mr. Goldstein himself calls to congratulate her. 3 months later, Rachel is yet to be paid for her work with Spencer Goldstein. She is with her assistant and security out in the desert when he notices a black van speeding towards them. Not expecting anyone, she goes looking for her security, only to find him dead from a gunshot wound. When she rushes back to her assistant, she is already dead. It is Olsen, but before Rachel is taken, she activates the watch Sid gave to her. Bobby is inside her office when Sid and Bronco casually break in and take seats. Bobby freaks out, threatening to call security, but they reveal no one is coming to save her. She already knows Rachel has been taken, claiming she is working with the government and authorities to solve a complex situation, but the guys realize she is doing nothing. The situation is not as complex as she is making it out to be, and the guys give her one last warning to pay her debts. Rachel finds herself locked in the police station on Salazar's island. There he reveals that Spencer Goldstein still hasn't returned all his assets, so he has taken something valuable to them. Rachel reveals she is worth nothing to Spencer Goldstein, and though he's a billionaire, they manage trillions, and even she hasn't been paid. Salazar doesn't care, promising to find a way to make them pay, or pieces of her will start showing up at their offices. He reminds her that this is his island, and he has a small army to ensure that nobody is coming to save her. Meanwhile, Sid, Bronco, and the entire team are already on the island with plans to extract Rachel, using the plans they made long ago. First, they drop off Baker at the back of the station while Bronco and Sid pull up to the front in a police car disguised as cops. They enter confidently, acting like they're supposed to be there, before restraining a lone cop watching the armory. Now armed with machine guns, the two manage to restrain the few cops around the cells and free Rachel, all without being detected. Using the element of surprise, the two then catch the other cops inside off guard. However, outside, Moreno spots 5 more cops entering the station. Sid and Bronco hold all 5 at gunpoint, demanding they surrender, but one cop goes for his sidearm, so the two gun everyone down. The gunfire alerts the other cops outside, so Baker blows a hole through the back wall of the station, while Sid and Bronco hold off the incoming cops. Moreno picks them up at the back, and they start heading to the airfield with the cops in pursuit. The team waits until the cops are outside the city before blowing their engines, but another team of men send up a drone and continue the pursuit. The team get to the airfield, and Dunn rushes into the hangar to start the gyrocopters, but the pursuing drone drops explosives onto the hangar, killing Dunn and destroying their way out. The team manage to eliminate the car of men, regroup, and start heading toward their West Exfil location with Moreno and Gucci on bikes. 2 trucks filled with armed men get on their trail, but the team is prepared to lead them into a trap. Moreno and Gucci get behind one truck and wipe them out. Sid pulls ahead and Bronco jumps out in time to open a pit trap, causing the lead truck to fall in, then gunning down the men with Gucci's and Moreno's help before escaping once more. The team get to the safe house, but there's no time to rest as Gucci spots 3 incoming vehicles. Before the trucks can get closer, they're disabled by spikes, forcing the men to continue on foot. There's a never-ending stream of hostiles, and the team does well to hold them off, but they soon begin to get overrun. They start a tactical retreat while Baker primes some explosives. Baker chooses to stay behind to activate the trap, so Bronco and Sid move with Rachel outside, still laying down gunfire until they manage to jump on bikes. Baker tosses smoke, using his pistol to cover his retreat, but all his exit points get cut off. Bronco demands that he get out of there, but left without a choice and a small army flooding his position, Baker activates the bomb, blowing up the entire safe house. Bronco, Sid and Rachel make it to the zip lines and get across the gorge, still taking fire from the incoming men. They jump into a waiting ATV and start speeding towards the port where Gucci and Moreno are waiting. The trio don't get far before Olsen turns up in a chopper and starts shooting at them. Sid quickly drives into a building to take cover. The chopper begins circling so Olsen can get a shot, but Bronco hits the chopper with a rocket, killing Olsen. With this, the guys get Rachel onto the boat with Moreno and Gucci and send her off to safety before heading back into the island. A while later, Salazar is inside his penthouse when Bronco and Sid show up there. They incapacitate him, roll him right out the front door on a gurney, and extract him out of the country without incident, before delivering him directly to the FBI. Rachel deduces that Bobby double-crossed her by withholding Salazar's assets, and informs Bobby that Salazar will provide evidence against Spencer Goldstein's role in his criminal empire. Having secured her payment, Rachel leaves Bobby to face the consequences. That's it for today's recap. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more insane movie stories. YouTube thinks you'll love the video on screen, so click to enjoy.